It gives me great pleasure today to introduce to you our guest speaker. He's also our associate pastor, Ronnie Austin. He's an accomplished musician, singer, songwriter, and salesman. And he makes me laugh a lot. We've been married for 32 years. Anyway, let's take a moment.
Wow, almost everybody. Written by the Birds. Remember that? A band called the Birds. I'm going to move over here for you. Bring the jug with me. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So glad you came out on this Palm Sunday. The purpose of this song, whenever I'm looking for inspirational material or what I'm going to talk about on a Sunday, I go to the Bible because it's such a wonderful source. Okay, and what I do is I just take it, kind of like Steve's book here, and I start at the back, and I just let it flip. And then when that little voice says stop, that's where I stop. So a couple of weeks ago, I'm sitting in a motel room in Alabama, and I get the Bible and say, well, what am I going to talk about? I don't even know. It's always a mystery. So I wound up in the book of Ecclesiastes, which is the book written by Solomon, the great wise Solomon, son of David. The preacher, it says. And I wind up on chapter 3, and it says, to everything there is a season. Wow! Here's the story, right? Here's the message for the day. Before I get started, though, I want to thank Jody for all you do, because these little name badges, they didn't materialize. Jody went and got them made for us, okay? And so, setups that you see in the back on Sunday mornings, a lot of that's her. That's the behind-the-scenes girl right there. Thank you for that. So, life is like the seasons. We all have just so many. For some, it's very short. Let's look at John Lennon. Great songwriter, great singer, and he was cut down on the street of New York City, pretty young. Never made it to when I'm 64. John Kennedy, one of our greatest presidents, in my opinion. I was only 10 when he got shot, killed. Why? Why? Over greed? I don't know. Why? Life's short. He was a great war hero. How many of you are old enough to remember the Cuban Missile Crisis? Most of you remember that? Great leadership. What did he say? Here comes the ships, right? Mikhail Gorbachev sending the ships with the missiles. John Kennedy calls Mr. Gorbachev. Right? Khrushchev, I'm sorry. Khrushchev, thanks. Mr. Khrushchev, we got a problem here. You got these ships with the, you can tell how young, right? I was 10, I told you that. But Mr. Khrushchev, we got a problem here. I understand you got these ships heading for Cuba. That's right, they're on their way. No can do, sir. Sorry. Next phone call, Mr. Gorbachev says, Mr. Kennedy. Khrushchev, thanks, guys. Mike, Khrushchev. Wait a second.
Reagan said Gorbachev tear down this wall.
That's it, thanks. Yeah. See, now I remembered that one, right? But what did Kennedy say? He said, sir, I'm here to tell you, if you bring those missiles, it's not going to be pretty. The next phone call is, hey, we're going to bring the missiles anyway. The ships are on their way. The next phone call is, I promise you, if you bring those missiles to Cuba, Russia will no longer exist. That was leadership, right? Too short. Life was too short. Life is like the seasons. Elvis Presley. Jody was on her way to the concert, right? You had the tickets. Too short. Way too short. Marilyn Monroe. Too short. We have 4 seasons here, and I'm going to talk about these 4 seasons, and all of you know them. Winter, some are long, and some are short. Now, I don't know today where I'm finding you. I don't know if you're in your winter, your spring, your summer, or your fall. But I'm going to give you some things to reflect on it nonetheless. First of all, what types of winters are there? There's many kinds of winters depending on who you are. But let's talk about the loss of a loved one. That's a winter, isn't it? Yeah. How about the economic winters? Some of us in this time have been hit pretty hard, including me. Man, life was got blindsided here back in 07, 08. It was a tough economic winter. Planned hard, worked hard. Good Lord. They're lonely winters, times of loneliness. A great loss. Loss of a loved one. Lost my father-in-law 2 years ago. Winter is also a time for rest, though, isn't it? It's a time when we sit back and we reflect on everything that happened the year before. It's a time to just kind of sit down and hibernate a little bit. Kind of like the bear, right? Just get out of the storm, hunker down a little bit, do the best you can do. But God's faithful. He said, after every winter comes what? Spring. Right? Okay, so how many of you know that the Easter Bunny's real? Come on. Most of you know. Okay, great. Well, you ask any 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old, I promise you they'll tell you he is or she is, in fact, real. Spring. Some of you are in your springtime now. New business ventures, new health, new love. Yeah. New church. Hey, we're glad you're all here today. Mother Earth is rebuilding. Yeah, it's a new time, spring. It's a breath of fresh air for some of us who've been in that hard, cold winter of discontent. Yeah, but here we are in spring. Maybe if we knew, your story, we'd let you get up here and talk. But today, I got the platform, so hunker down. It's good. But springtime, we all need a little spring in our life. That time to hope again. And spring is also a time for planting, right? So if you're a gardener, this is the time you get out there and kind of till the soil up a little bit and get the garden ready for the flowers and trim the bushes back and make sure everything's great. Then comes summertime. Maybe we're finding you at summer. Summer, what is summer? Summer is a time of labor, right? Summer's critical. The weeds get in the garden. Man, used to kill me about summertime, Used to work on a tobacco farm. Summer was long. Folks, I'm telling you, it was long. I'll tell you what was long. Was how long is this tobacco grow? Now it's about this tall right here. Walking behind that John Deere tractor with the trailer. And you'd bend over and you'd pick as many as you could get under this arm. And then you'd go put them up on the trailer and then you'd go back to where you left off at the bottom of the stalk and you'd pick some more leaves. Summertime. Summertime in life, we're that's a tough time, right? You got to hunker down. Summertime is a lot of things for some of us. Weeds in the garden. Now, weeds can be a lot of things. You're just thinking right now, well, weeds, in the ground, right? Weeds can be your negative relatives too. Somewhat, or the naysayers in life, right? Those people that come up in the garden saying, "Oh, you're doing what? A spiritualist church? What are they? What kind of mumbo is that?" Yeah, right? We all know about these weeds in the garden. What do you got to do? Get a bigger hoe, I guess. Right? I don't know. Then we got the company. You didn't get that, did you?
No, from Rhode Island.
Oh. Yeah, you have to be from the South, working in a tobacco field to understand the big hoe, okay? Big weeds. No, what I'm talking about is just the negative thoughts that people try to put in your mind.
No, get that part.
You got that? That's like the weeds. That's the weed. But that's the weeds in the mind. And what do? In the summertime, you got to be diligent here. You got to keep the negative thoughts at bay. Ever how you do that. But you can't go hide your head in the ground because summertime's the time that you got to get out there and get the garden ready, right? Because we all know what comes after summer. Summer is fall, the time of harvest. Look at all of the celebrations we have around the world when the fall comes, right? We got Halloween, we got Oktoberfest, we've got Biketoberfest around here. Yeah, here's the Rumble, baby. It comes to life, right? We've got new wine coming out because we're harvesting the grapes. We've got all this storehouse. Now, if you played all summer long, then don't you complain when fall comes, okay? These are lessons of life, and most of you in here are mature enough to know what I'm saying. If you played all summer, can't be like the ant. Now, my dad used to tell me about this all the time. Work like the ant. Like the ant? Yeah, he says when it rains outside, the ant goes for shelter, right? Sun comes back out, ant goes back to work, right? Rains again, ant goes back in the ground. Sun comes out, back to work. I thought, wow, what a philosophy. Yeah. What happens when wintertime comes? Ant's been working all summer. My dad used to tell me about that story with the hare, the rabbit, and the ant. He was an old soldier, Yeah. Son, you've been out there like that rabbit playing all summer. You can't expect too much over here in the fall. Okay, Dad. If the crops are small in the fall, remember, it's what you did with it. You know, it's how well you worked in the summer, how well you planted your garden. I would hope that today I could convey a little bit of a thought about what's happening here, even with our church. We're growing, you know. We started off with me and Steve and Jody, right? And a couple of other folks that didn't make it today, but that's about it. It was this hand. You could count us all. And then we look today and go, wow, we got almost every chair filled up. Of course, I know you all came to see me, so I'm just kidding. But that was the newsletter he sent out. You should come, right? So now I'm thinking, aren't you glad you did? Yeah. We're having a good time. Church is growing. We're finding, here we are in the fall a little bit, celebrating. Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Man. Started off with 5. Now we got 25 to 35 on Sundays. When I'm traveling, I tell people, I said, yeah, started up this church with a pastor friend of mine. What a cool journey it's been. So much fun meeting new people, all special and unique in your own way, gifted in many ways. Each one of you is special. So I hope today that I find you in some time of celebration. But if I didn't find you there, what I do hope is that you understand whatever it is, it's just temporary. This whole journey is temporary, right? We all know that. How many in here all know where you're going after this one? Yeah, everybody knows pretty much? Yeah, good. It's just continuing on, right? Yeah. A new spring on the other side. Summerland, yes, right? Where it's nice and sweet. I hope you have a good time today. I hope you enjoy what this time of year means. I hope you understand that the relevance of what Palm Sunday means. It's a time of rebirth. It's a time of renewal. It's a time of change in a positive light. It's a time to start over again. It doesn't matter how young or how old you are. It's time to start over. It's a new day. It's a new spring. And I hope I find you there in the fall and I can rejoice with you, whatever that story is. You have a blessed day, and I'll see you again. God bless.